Yo, everybody, it's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you this week. Oh, yeah. I got a special guest on. It's Ian. He's a wrestling buddy. He used to work with my wife back in the day. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Let's get it.
Yo, everybody, it's Heat Override. So let's get to it. Bring the pain. You gotta love things like that.
Absolutely.
So, everybody, this is Ian. Introduce yourself. Tell them what's up.
Well, I like you said, with the best interview, with the best intro. I had some time working with his wife. We did a lot of stuff together, and I'm gonna try and make this one of the most researched shoot podcasts that we can even think of doing. So let's get into it.
That's the best part about just bringing the pain and stuff. It's all about just having fun and sticking to what we're talking about. It's NXT day. It's in your house day. Yes. So it's kind of cool. You know, this is about to start. So a lot of people will be like, yo, what's going on? What's really good. So we're just going to actually pop up and we're just going to hit out the matches real quick and talk about it. So we're going to do that. Boop. All right. We're on Bleacher Alerts, Bleacher Reports. So thank you, Bleacher Reports, and so we're going to look at this right here. This is, they went back to the In Your House. How do you like that?
They did it. They brought it back, 1 or 2 years ago. I like the idea. Wasn't really my age range growing up to see an event like this back when it was first inaugurated. Yeah. So seeing it now and with the wrestlers that I'm accustomed to is definitely a fun experience.
The best part of this is where wrestling pay-per-views every month started, when they started pumping out these $20 In Your Houses, and then the next thing you know, it just kept rising, and then it was every month there was a pay-per-view, and it was nice to keep it the original 4, but now it is nice to get some conclusion, some action every month, especially with everything in the shutdowns going on. So we'll go over this and then we'll get down to like the shutdown and what has been happening. So, the first one is you got Bronson Reed and MSK. They're going to sit here and they're going to fight this. They got six superstars for these 2 titles. And they're going to predict Reed and MSK wins. What do you think about that match?
And you can't leave out Legado del Fantasma. Hopefully I didn't botch that.
No, you did. You did well. You did well. I said Legado del Fantasma.
Hey, whichever. MSK is definitely the one that I'm going to watch here. With having Trey Miguel back up from the WWE and stay in Impact and bring these 2 guys that are just as good without him. Not a punch to him, but obviously they came right in and happened to get the tag championships right off the bat. I'm definitely expecting for MSK to pull off this one.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely going to be sitting it in, and that's what for me. This is where all the good wrestling's been. It's been NXT, and going through this, like, everybody else just leaving the Raw brand, and we'll talk about people getting released soon and things like that. But I mean, NXT seems to just be chugging away, and it's working. So that's been very positive. And it seems like all the feuds are NXT now. It just feels like, that is their best wrestling product. Would you agree?
I would. And right now we're looking at, even what's coming up next, seeing all these guys from different companies. And this is a huge conversation right now, being with AEW, Impact, NWA, with all of the recent firings and things like that WWE has shunned us with, sadly, with like the release of Braun Strowman and all those
That's
guys.
Huge.
I know, that was a big moment.
Get these hands.
We're in a different time. We're in a time where, away from the territories of how wrestling used to be, it's a big thing now. We're actually paying attention to it a lot more than they did.
Yeah. And you can't, it sucks. And I think that, the monies and contracts, that was a lot to play into it. Just not being able to bring live crowds in, sell those shirts, sell those belts, sell everything, because they can do that stuff online, but they don't do it. It's just never consistent enough, at least from what I'm going to see, than when going to a live show and being able to purchase your wrestler's shirt at a live show, because you always remember that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can even like remember my first time going to a live event. It was Cleveland, and that was right around the time that Daniel Bryan was really getting hot with his versus the Authority. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Seeing myself on the Tron with the signs and everything else, you know, having a good moment being next to my father and doing all sorts of craziness and buying John Cena shirts and everything else like that. It's wild. And thankfully we're getting back to that eventually, and hopefully make some good memories with kids and everything else.
I think that's what's really, really killed it, is taking out, because feeding off of the crowd is the biggest thing in the world. Like, I liked it at first. You could hear the wrestlers talking, you know, shit to each other. It was great. But then, like, after a while, it's like, all right, come on. We got to feel that, because it's like concerts, but it's a whole nother. When you get a front row, me and you know this, when you get a front row and you're sitting there and you're either getting sweated on, or there's a wrestler getting beat in front of you, or you get spit on or something like that, or catch beer, you catch beer. Like Molly caught beer at the PWR event right before lockdown, when we went to that event, and I dressed as Macho Man, and, you know, met that guy Dan I was talking about. He calls himself the Macho Dad, and he's good. He's really good. It was insane, because they upgraded my seat, because they were like, they just couldn't totally like leave me back where I was, so they gave me front row, and it happened to be right next to Dan. So we had a really, really good time, you know, just being two macho men right next to each other. We were finishing each other's sentences. But they had Cody Deaner was up from Impact. I think at the time he was with Impact. If he's still there, then he's, who knows now, you know, there's just so much jumping going on.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
So he set up the dude in front of him, or in front of us, and he grabbed a beer and he slammed it and he spit it all over, and it went all over Molly. And Molly's like, is this supposed to happen? And I'm like, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring your daughter wrestling day. Yeah.
Yes. It's just, and that experience and not being able to capitalize on that, that's been the biggest thing for me, that you can't have that, because it would have already been here twice. They would have already been here twice, you know, and that would have been maybe another opportunity for me to just dress less macho-y or something like that. And then, you know, run into you randomly. And that is sad. So now we're seeing all this get back, and seeing that you can see it, but the cuts have already been made. But let's finish up this pay-per-view, and we'll get into the, you know, talking about some of those cuts. So we got the $1 million championship coming back. Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. They're going to pick Grimes wins. What do you think?
That's a shocker to me, honestly. And again, here we go. Another Impact guy coming over. Of course, we know him as Eli Drake. He hasn't been used much or at all recently. I don't know how much leading up to this event has really happened. I love the fact that they're bringing DiBiase and the $1 Million Championship back. It's always great to see that. I mean, the last time we saw that was back when Goldust had it. Probably back in the 2010s, if not earlier, was the last time that we saw that. So, you know, having a legend show up like that, and I don't know too much about Grimes right now. It's been a touchy subject. I don't want to be a face on a TV monitor in some Thunderdome somewhere. You know, like you said, I want to be a part of things to really get into it. But I would have to go with LA Knight on this one.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do it. I'm going with Knight too. I think that sometimes when you have this gimmick going on with Grimes, that, you know, it's like the stock market. It rises and it fades. Let's get out of it. You can keep running it. You can keep it, but eventually you can only go for so long. You have to change it. So keep it running. We're going LA. Also, because, you know, LA Kings, LA Knights. You know.
Fair.
So let's go. Mercedes Martinez and Z Lee. I think that's Zai Lee.
Zaya.
Lee.
Sorry, Zaya or Zia or Zia. Whichever.
Who knows? I mean, they do know I'm bad with names. That's something I gotta get better with soon. But, you know, sometimes you just see it and you just can't unsee it, right?
That's what it is. It is what it is.
So it looks like they're predicting Lee wins this. So, have you done anything on the back of this right here? Or,
not really. The only time that I've really seen even one of these competitors, and actually both of them, is actually in that first little snippet of conversation that they have discussing this match with the rematch of sorts that they had in the May Young Women's tournament.
okay.
So that in and of itself is going to be exciting to see a rematch between these two.
Oh, it's going to be wrestled well. That's for sure. Like, this is going to be entertaining. This is going to be nice. And I'm happy that, like, Chrissy, she went and she got a little, one of those notebooks or Chromebooks. So it allows the Peacock, because, the only things that in the house that can do the Peacock app right now is the TV, or no, it's the PlayStation, it's my computer, and it's, of course, our phones. But when you're watching a pay-per-view, you want to watch it on your 55-inch screen.
No doubt.
So you have to use the PlayStation now. But it's like, for this, like when we're outside or we're doing that, we got that extra 10-inch screen that we could just put somewhere else, not have to be in front of the TV all the whole time, and just explain, how we do it. It's awesome. So we're going to end up watching it on that. It's going to look beautiful. And this wrestling is going to be top notch in this. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say Lee wins. Let's do it. What do you think?
My decision on this one, I'm going to be happy with either or.
Yeah, I think you're both are going to wrestle really well. So then we get to the NXT Women's Championship, Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. I hate when they do these things. Like, Ember's already been up to main roster. Now she's back down here. So I'm going to easily just go with Gonzalez winning this. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the same thing. If that Grimes and LA Knight match is actually for the $1 Million Championship, which is pretty much going to be an inauguration of sorts.
Yes, yeah.
When you get into your first legit title defense of the night, I'm gonna have to stick with the woman who holds it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with Gonzalez as well.
Yeah. I don't see. I think Ember Moon has a great set of moves. I think it's going to be another great match, but I don't see why you take the step back. We've already done this. We've done this, right? Just like, with Finn Balor. We've done this, so why are we coming back down? Did you not hack it on the big leagues? Like, are you not, you couldn't do it on Raw? Too many matches with Drew McIntyre just wears you down. You like this fast pace. It fits his style. I get that. So this does fit style. Ember is hardcore, but right now I don't see why you would take this belt off of Gonzalez when you're getting close to SummerSlam and you can plan something for next year to work up to that. Keep the belt on her now and then work a big matchup for that. Or she jumps. But right now, I don't see her jumping until, even if she has the belt, would be WrestleMania next year or Royal Rumble. She trades the belt in and enters the Royal Rumble. Who knows? What do you think?
I think with that point being said, that's really going to come into play in the last match of the night, which we're going to look into here in a moment.
All right,
and here we go.
The Fatal 5-Way, man.
Yes.
We got Karrion Kross. We got Adam Cole. We got
Baby,
Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, this is a stacked match. You have hard-nosed knuckleballers here. You've got, it's so much, and you got Karrion Kross sitting out there, just destroying everybody, and clearly is the biggest one in the ring. Gargano is a beast, and Cole just has it.
Are you saying that because he's a Cleveland guy? I think you might be saying that.
Oh man, so Macho Dad Dan is really close with him. He actually did for his Bonesaws Grindhouse podcast. He had when he was Killer Cross, had him do his intro for him. So he's actually been like coming around. So he did that, but now he can't, he won't come on, can't come on the podcast, has to be approved, et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of stinks for him, but he has that. So I've kind of been watching him. Gargano, I've seen a lot. I do love Cole. I think it's great. And I don't see Riley and I don't see Dunn. they're just good spots. They're going to wrestle amazingly, but I don't see how those three don't come out with the championship. I want Cross to retain, but we'll see right here. They say Gargano wins. What do you feel, man?
Now, here's one of those where it's tough. We are approaching I want to say probably the third biggest pay-per-view of the year, with SummerSlam coming up here in the next couple months. If you're going to put a title on somebody and think that they're going to be in for a long stretch, it's not going to be somebody that you're going to bring up here soon. Honestly, I can see Adam Cole coming up to the main roster. I can see Pete Dunne coming up to the main roster. O'Reilly, look, they were great with Undisputed Era. He's a great performer, and he has been all his life. But I don't feel like it would be as much of a draw as those two names right there. If they're predicting Gargano to win, I wouldn't be mad. But I also don't think that means that Karrion Kross is going to be coming up to the main roster either. So with that being said, I think if we're going to switch titles, I might have to take a step back with the women's championship even. This is a tough one. This one, I don't know if he's going to lose that or not. There's a lot of big names here. If anything, if Johnny Gargano doesn't win, I predict a retain here.
Yeah. And that's why I want Cross to still there, because I don't know if he's ready to come main roster yet. But if you are going to bring him main roster, then you kind of do it after this match. But if he loses and Gargano wins or Cole gets it, that's totally completely fine with me. And then if maybe in the next month we see Cross come up to main roster, that's great. But that's just typically not the way they do it sometimes. They usually save that around for Royal Rumble, WrestleMania kind of time. So that's, I don't, but hey, maybe they'll bring him up sooner. He is a big boy in a small man's fast moving kind of.
You're right.
Doesn't fit sometimes. Like when him and Keith Lee were fighting. Yeah, that was like watching it. It was literally watching two rhinos, because those moves were because all their moves were like delays. They're all delays. So it was like, boom. Boom. and and it's just like, it's no reason why he got hurt in that match. Like, Keith Lee is not a small guy. Like, he's one of those thick guys.
Yeah, I mean, look at the experience with Lee and Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble this past year. Like, they went toe to toe. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna put those two toe to toe and see the same outcome.
No, and that's why I wouldn't. They can bring Cross up for me anytime. That's totally fine. So if he loses tonight, that's totally good with me too. I think it actually opens that door faster for him. And I wouldn't mind seeing that, because I would like to see him fight somebody like Drew McIntyre. I would like to go in a ring with some buff and then see where it goes from there. Because, he's got the mind games. He scares a lot of people because he's bigger than a lot of these guys. But when you go up to main roster, then you got some things you got to deal with. Plus, there's no Strowman, who's a scary guy. Like,
the last thing to add on to that, honestly, would be the fact that, say he does lose that title. I don't think he's been a part of NXT long enough to not have a rebuttal, to not have this build up to a rematch. That hasn't really been there yet. And of course, injury plagued the first little bit. I think he has more time. I think that he's ready, sure. But has NXT seen all of him? I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is I think it's still too early too. If he had ran like you bringing up the injury is a big key. If he actually had that title run without that injury and was leading up to this match, clear, cut, and dry, you drop that title and then you go, or you trade in the title for a chance in SummerSlam. You make a statement that way. That's how you make your come up, your stuff like that. But you got to work some kinks out in that, because when you get up there, I mean, we've seen someone like Braun Strowman who could move well get cut. So, let's get right into that. When you saw Braun Strowman, what did you think, man?
I immediately went and messaged my brother-in-law. It was such a shock to me. It wasn't like I was mind blown.
I couldn't believe
I
it.
couldn't picture why. I couldn't try to form a sentence as to why. It was crazy, and in such a weird time,
Yeah, you
just out
think
of the blue.
like I just keep thinking to myself, is it because Peacock has this now? Is it because of that? Are they just deeming these characters or they're indispensable or just they don't need them anymore? I don't know what's going on. It makes no sense to see this many. Like Lana, okay. Like, okay, I get it. But then Alistair Black too. And then you said like there's things that came out, like Alistair came out with a tweet, but some people said things about the tweets, but at the same time, you couldn't figure anything out for him. And I think it was either Mark Henry or Dave LaGreca on, Busted Open. One of them somewhere said it that you couldn't, it was LaGreca said you went from one of the best entrances 2 years ago at WrestleMania, and that being Alistair Black ever, to this. This was your plan? Like, just elaborate on that, man. Like, I can't get it.
And the same goes for Braun Strowman, and like you said, a lot of these other characters. Sure, Lana maybe, with the fact that now we have Best Man Miro. That was just a ball rolling downhill for her story.
Yeah.
And maybe the same goes for Alistair, with his wife or wherever they're at with their relationship. I do believe it's his wife, regardless.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a ball rolling. And then on top of that, even with Braun, and it's sad to say this, but look at the opportunities and the times that they've had to push him.
Yeah.
Look at some of the things that have happened from those pushes. He has held belts. It's not like he's had a winless career. He's a monster.
Okay.
He's a ridiculous athlete.
Yeah.
But maybe they saw something that didn't click. But at the same time, take him back to NXT. You could have. Yeah. Sure, maybe all of his NXT time was based around the Wyatt family, which, again, was a stellar run.
Yeah.
So why couldn't
No, I agree with you. I like where you're going with that. Yeah. To me, I love where you're going with that, dude. Because, like, seriously, you pretty much just said it right there. What is there to hate? He had get these hands. You had your yes moment. You even in your last match with Wyatt, he still kind of won that match. Like, but it was strange. It was weird because that was the whole movie acting strange stuff they did. But overall, Strowman did have a good career. He did well. He proved himself, and maybe they just thought, what else can we do? We've done this. There's only so much you can do with a monster that size. Maybe it's just better if he goes, gets less, works less a little bit. That'll help his body out. It's just better to part ways with him. This is probably a good opportunity for him to do it too. I mean, I totally like where you're going with that, man.
The only other thing that I could even try to put into my mind is look at the history of the big men. And you see it very recently with Paul White, with the Big Show, how ironclad everybody has always talked about his contracts and where they were set before he left the company and to where he's at now. That could have very well been the same case with Braun. Like you said, there's only so much that you can do with a man his size. That's if you're going to make him the face of the company, Vince McMahon already said it. There will never be another John Cena. There will never be somebody that could take control of their own future and have a higher power. So either way,
that's sad though. That's sad because
it is.
They want to push that. They want Cena to break that Flair record.
Which I've been hearing a lot of rumors about that too. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I actually got an email for one of those Thunderdome invites and stuff, but I didn't want to be sitting in front of like a camera for like ever and stuff. But what is funny is I love that people still people, because that's the one thing that sucks about it. I always look into the crowd for the weird people, and I think who doesn't, right? And then now we get to see them in their house, which is fine because most of them are all right. But there's like the person eating the Cheetos, and I'm just like, Okay, like, and it's like you can't keep it off the camera, and then you have man, there's just so much like that's like a whole skit for things that make me a jerk. But
The best is the mixed reaction. You can have hundreds of fans in the Thunderdome cheering and clapping and doing all sorts of crazy, exciting things, and you get an arena full of booze.
Yeah, gotta love that piped in music, man, or that piped in cheering. It just to me, it's just funny, like like you're sitting there and you're watching it. So then I'm like, the first thing that comes to mind is the camera view. It's got to be like the same camera, but then like, or is it really? Like I didn't see anybody. I didn't ask anybody. I don't know anybody that got the invite, and of course I didn't partake in it. But I don't know what they're watching. Are they just watching like a pay-per-view version of the pay-per-view, or the live version, or is it like a distinct camera from that seat? I don't know.
I think, and I've gotten emails myself, but again, I never put myself up to it. I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat.
I'll be dating them Cheetos. Got some coffee.
I think what it is kind of like how it is now. You get a room full of anonymous, or you're by yourself, and you're based with a picture of yourself or a video, and you are watching on your television. I don't know how that dynamic works, but I don't think that there's a view from the seat.
Yeah, I don't
honestly,
think there is.
I don't think that.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong.
Maybe we are. Which
put it in the comments if you guys have taken it.
Yes,
because we want to know.
If I can get front row seat in the Thunderdome, knock it off the bucket list. I'm ready to go.
Hey, let's go. Yeah, let's see some up close action. Right? Like, okay, let's do that.
Hey, if I get beer spilled on me, I'm always prepared for some. I'll do it.
Yeah, someone just come by and clean my screen, please. You spit on my screen, just clean my screen. I don't want to go half the rest of the night with someone's hawker on my thing. I'd just be like, and then what if it's getting foggy? You just start like complaining, yeah, little buttoning. You sit there, you're like, hey, it's foggy, I can't see. Somebody's got a problem somewhere.
Please email our IT department.
Yes, please. The fly just comes over it. You're just like, what's going on, man? Oh man, it just seems so fun. So yeah, I bet that's probably got to be the way it is. But it's nice to see that the crowds are coming back, and that to me, I've been still waiting for the local stuff to kind of really up their ante. Like I've been waiting for PWR to really announce something to get out. I haven't really seen much, but I've seen other places. I think Empire Wrestling, they did some kind of cheesy promo. Sorry if you Empire Wrestling's watching.
Yeah, and sorry to Anthony Gaines for being a part of that one. I did watch that.
Oh, so you did see the? You know what I'm talking about? The backstage.
I know what you're talking about. I don't.
He had to use the bathroom.
And if that wasn't him, it sure did look like him. So
yes. I mean, it looks like it's got some hope there, but I brought up to you guys, these guys, what was that ring that they took all those pictures in? That's their ring, right? That they painted. Cole Gibbons and everybody.
I keep seeing it too. Like I said, I'm hopefully going to experience that here very soon in my own.
Yeah. I can't believe that they're doing it, but they're like they got Marcus Knight involved in it. They got some people involved, and I've seen some other. I'm not going to say any names, but I've seen some other wrestlers that did wrestle for PWR say some laughable comments that made me kind of go, okay. But the comment that I read was that they were the jobbers, and that's fine. But if the jobbers want to make a federation and they want to tell their story and they're doing it and they're putting this show on for family and maybe a few friends, at least they're doing something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At least they're doing something. I want to see Bennett Cole defend his championship. We never got that. It took the Black Sheep that long to get that title, and then he finally gets it, and then
absolute worst case scenario.
Oh man, and it just, I guess that's why he's the Black Sheep. But that's something I'm I want to see come back, and I know he's been in the gym. So, that's all we got. Like, for a lot of people out there, PWR, they don't post a lot of things. You don't get to see a lot. So there's not a lot of news. You can't just go to a magazine or go online. We have to rely on our friends that we're friends with on Facebook for the most part to actually be like, oh, look, he's working out again. There might be something coming back. But that's those, and those shows are awesome. The way they would get, wrestlers to come in. That's how I met Matt Hardy. That's how I met Rhino. And that whole experience right there, we need to get back to that. Because that's what us wrestling fans crave. What do you think, man?
Yeah, the exact same, I guess, and same thing. We were at the same show at the Fire Hall, seeing Matt Hardy and Rhino, and then you got your EC3. That was one of the more recent ones as well. There is nothing better. There's nothing better than being there.
It is. It's good, and we're gonna get back there. And that being said, we're looking at maybe having a hockey season next year in Erie. Things are opening up. Are you going to go back and, play with any of those places, or no, are you done with it, right?
The career choice that I've made has definitely set me up for the future. So I will be attending as a fan for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. That's what I told Chrissy. I said, we really got to go on one of these Thursday games. It's the $2 beer special. Let's just go. Let's just hang out. Let's see the new park. Let's experience. And she's like, well, I don't like baseball. And I'm like, let's just go. Let's have some beers. Let's call you up and we just go there and then have and then still laugh at Rob still running around, changing games out. That's him though. That's him. That's what he's doing. He's doing his thing. Yeah. Right. But it's like, all right, let's go as fans. Let's do what we can. So I'm totally about that. But are you looking forward to a lot of that as well?
Yes, I'm definitely missing my local hockey team. It's sad to see Pittsburgh drop out as quick as they did. We'll maybe get to that one a little later. With the ballpark, some exciting news today, if you didn't hear it already, that just came up. The first overall pick in the 2020 draft is being promoted to Erie.
Oh,
and he's coming up, Spencer Torkelson. Hopefully I didn't botch that one, but he is going to be finally making his start in Erie here soon, his debut. And
that's awesome.
We're going to see the future of Detroit coming up. And I'm going to lead into this conversation too, if you don't mind.
No, you're totally fine, dude.
This goes with COVID and everything else on top of it, with the fans and being there for the experience. Look, this is a crazy time for sports right now. You have your Shohei Ohtanis, your Spencer Torkelson, your Connor McDavids, all these guys. If you have an opportunity to be there because things like this happen. Mm-hmm. This is not the first pandemic. This probably will not be the last. Hopefully it's the last for, your and my lifetime.
Yeah. Let's not deal with that.
Let's knock on wood there. Right. But if you have the chance, do it, because you're going to miss out.
That's
and
what
if you miss out, it might be the last.
That's correct.
And let's swing back too. Look at Tampa Bay. Look at the Lightning right now. They are on track to be another back-to-back championship winner. There is so much craziness going on in sports and wrestling and everywhere. You need to get out.
That's it. And now they just announced that Black Widow is going to be in the theaters, that they're going to do that. So that's like, I look, Molly, I'm like, finally, like this was like another thing that was shut down. We were supposed to already have used our tickets. I've had 5 credits sitting in there for the longest time. Like I can't use them. And even when it opened, they weren't really like kind of the movies I would take Molly to go see. Unhinged. She doesn't want to see that. I love Russell Crowe. Gladiator is my favorite movie of all time. But guess what? I'm not going to take my daughter to see Unhinged. I'll take her to see, Black Widow, Spider-Man. I miss it, but then I don't see it. I don't have the D box in 3D. I can only get the 3D or the D box. And I'm like, So I'm probably just going to take the D box without the 3D. I'm still going to do that. But I have these tickets and I'm ready to restart my subscription. I'm ready to see movies. Like, give me movies. I had so many tickets right before, of course, shut down when they did if you did the Lion King, Aladdin, and then Toy Story, you got a special print for each one. And then you had to just register your tickets and buy them through the online. I had all my frees. We each went to each one of those free. Boom, did all three of them, and I still had 5 left over when it came to the shutdown. Like, and of course that was like 8 months later, but we were seeing movies constantly, and now we can get that back. You bring up, being able to see Connor McDavid. Like, I was able to go to those events. It worked out great for me. Just Chrissy would be done with work. She'd come get us. But for those, 2.5 periods, because usually I got 10 minutes left, Chrissy was like, let's go. And I was like, all right, I know you want to leave work. I totally get it. So we would leave. But just to see Connor and the moves that he would do on those, it was so amazing. It's why having these sports are big, man. It's huge. And I love that you spun into that, because that's what I think of the movies. I think of, being able to witness a Super Bowl or a WrestleMania in its reality, and then going forward with that, because you don't like, even we didn't get the event the day before with, we got to watch all the people be inducted like it used to be with everybody in the crowd. We didn't get none of that. That's not WrestleMania weekend. Everybody says you got to live WrestleMania weekend. I have not. I want to, but you got to live it once if you can, whatever. Live that whole weekend, go to this, go to that, do it all. And then they even said that like local places will be putting on wrestling shows too. So like LaGreca the one time went and he reffed at a local one that was just happening because of just the whole spin. That is what we need.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest movie goer. I'll tell you that one.
Whatever.
Off the top of my head. We just need to be done with this. And
yeah.
It's taken a toll.
It's just made a lot of people rely on either streaming or just going online. And then what you saw the last year is not what you really wanted to see. You didn't want to deal with that. Like for me, once football started, that's all that existed. And that was amazing because it was able, like, maybe some ways I could come off as being arrogant or shallow because, well, I didn't care about this election or care about this thing. I didn't care because sports make you happy. I was great to watch football. We were watching it together as a family. That's big. You know that's just huge for our family, watching that and getting to see all that stuff. So it was really easy to just tune all that out going into this. And then when it was done, it was kind of like all of it was over. And it was kind of like, hey, cool, we're here. And then they start opening things up. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I could go without the leg injury, but that happened. So, it's, to me, I think that where it's going right now, I mean, has there been any concerts you've wanted to see? Did you have any plans to go see a concert of like a rock star, or Rob Zombie, etc.? Were you going on anything before this shutdown, or?
I didn't have anything planned, honestly, especially with the change in the family life and the additions that we've made this past year.
Of course. Beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you. But going to wrestling events, going to sporting events, going to things like that was definitely always number one on the list of to-dos. Mm-hmm. And not being able to do that definitely sucked a lot. Because even right now where it's like, man, I really want to go. But at the same time, now there's so many different factors you have to play into everything that it's unreal. And
yeah, I just want to get to Canada. You know that. I just want to go to Canada and act like an insane imbecile on Clifton Hill. I want to do that. That day, I was just drinking beers up and down the damn street. People are just smoking marijuana because it was legal. I'm just like, it doesn't matter what's happening. I'm having a good time. Like, I'll get back to that. But you bring up things that people do together. Gaming is one of them. I mean, since you sold me that Switch Lite, dude, that's what I play all the time. Like I play all the old role-playing games. So I do all that and that stuff. Did you ever rebuy a Switch or did you buy your setup?
No, I can't even honestly remember where a lot of my funds go to nowadays. There's so much that happens around here, but yeah,
Which
yeah.
way did it go?
I don't remember where my backdrop came from or what time I bought that, but
Yes, yes.
But everything is still on the Xbox. That's what we're doing nowadays. That's what we've been doing for a while. I kind of jumped ship, went to PlayStation for a little bit,
Yeah.
and ended up ultimately coming back. And
Yeah, and you have the one, right? Or did you get the X series?
I did not get the X yet.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's in my search history once a week.
Yeah. Yeah, same
with hopes and dreams, but eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, and by then they're going to be releasing the pro systems. Right now, for me, it's if you have a lot of games and you can play those games right now, then play them. Like they just announced Diablo 2 Remastered's coming out September, so that's cool. And so I'm going to go look at all that stuff. Nintendo's going to do some things for tomorrow, but I never got to play Breath of the Wild, so I can play Breath of the Wild, I should say. And now I can play these other games. I mean, I played Dragon Warrior 3 for the Nintendo, the Dragon Quest part, though. I played that 2 times through completely. I beat it and then started working on the other character because you get this after game quest, which they didn't have in the original Dragon Warrior 3. Then I'm starting playing with this other stuff, and I'm just like, okay, cool. And then, I started playing Star Wars Galaxies, and some guy came in randomly and was like, hey, they got this new Star Wars Galaxy Restoration 3 coming out. Come check it out. And I started playing that. I'm like, whoa, what they did to the game is completely amazing. And it's like a hybrid of all 3 games. So I don't need a 5. I don't need an X series. I mean, you said something about gaming on your computer. Which games do you play?
That's more in her realm of things. With playing The Sims and Minecraft. And I did get into back to Age of Empires, those old days, and playing a lot of the clickers. Yes. They remastered RuneScape not too long ago.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
got
Baldur's
back into
Gate.
doing that.
Yes. I was about to buy that. Well, I did actually buy Baldur's Gate 2. I bought that. So, and like for the computer, and I took it back. I was like, I'll take this back. And I went and got something else. But yeah, like seriously, that like those games coming back, that's like a blast. So you said what? So you played a lot of Age of Empires. Did you hear that? So you play a lot of Age of Empires. You're muted.
Let's try that again. Sorry, a lot of commotion going on.
That's okay. That's totally fine. Hey, this will bring the pain, man.
Yeah, I got into it for a little bit. Thankfully, Xbox has Game Pass, and that being able to come out for the PC and bringing a lot of games to the computer,
that is fun.
Opened up a new realm. With Age of Empires, it went back to a classic for me, and I've tried to get back into the way I used to be able to play it, but haven't had that niche that I had when I was younger to really succeed.
No, you can't just drop 9 hours in a game.
Not anymore.
And come up with a tent and a fire. You can like, look at me, I'm great, I'm happy. You can't do that anymore. And I mean, what really helps is the family with the crafts and things like that. But like you said, you still have some youngins coming up. Can't just hand them paint. Like I can, like Molly's still a little crazy with paint. There's paint places. She still spilled it like the last time she used it like a week ago, or no, a month ago. But it's kind of one of those things you just do. You do the crafts and you have fun, and then that's what opened me up. One of the reason why I finished Final Fantasy X, and this was way after it came out. Chrissy was into scrapbooking, so I was like, okay, let's scrapbook. And then so I would scrap once in a while, but most of the time it was just a role-playing game, grinding. She was watching the story. She liked the story. And then she pretty much watched the entire game and did a lot of the scrapbooks that are right over here on the shelf. So it was kind of like a together thing, but that's just one thing that can only happen during the other time. Other than that, she ain't going to sit here and watch me kill anything in Star Wars Galaxies for hours. No. She's not going to watch me fight a new. Like, I'm not she's not gonna do that. She likes Mario Party games. She likes like this game called Knowledge is Power. If you've ever played Knowledge is Power,
I have not.
oh dude, it's actually cool. You just once you get the game, it's cheap and you just play the game on your phone. So you just connect to the game. There is an app. You connect to the game and you can actually just play the app on the phone without even having that. But you just connect to it and it gives you all these questions. And it's really strange. You have like 5 doors every round. And then they'll have these like bonus multiplier rounds. And like it'll say crazy things. Like it'll be like wrestling, 80s, 90s, hair metal, and that. And then how that one you pick or the other person picks, whatever randomly goes, it starts going down a path. And it'll just end up in weird places. Like one time me and Chrissy ended up having to talk a lot about Shakespeare and drama. And I'm like, that's not my forte, man. Oh, what's going on?
What do I know about this?
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna pick this one. But then they throw in these little challenges, like they'll like your opponent will throw ice at you, so it'll put ice over it, so you'll have to hit it off your phone. Or then when like goop, you have to wipe it away to see the answers. It's pretty messed up, man. And it's like it's really fun, and you can play with just 2 players. And then like they have like these little mini games when you get like through like 5 questions, you get these games. It'll say match me, and it will be like it'll be like match me 80s wrestler or hair metal band, and it'll be like White Lion, and it'll be like Iron Sheik, and you just gotta keep swiping it. It's really neat, man. I know it's just like totally something weird, but it's not bad. I think I got it like a few bucks. Like it was just cool, and it always changes, and you don't ever play the same test twice. So it just literally it's cool like that. But you know, it gets its little things out there. But that's one thing, and to see all the games, coming out. So you don't do movies, so you're not like into Marvel or anything.
Not as much as I would like to be. I know that they are some great films.
Yeah,
I've heard all about them, and it looks like it would be something that I would be into. Sure, I'm guaranteeing you I've seen a few of them, but not enough to say, hey, that happened here or this happened in this film. No, that's not me, not yet.
But that's you in wrestling. That's you in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
See?
Absolutely.
And there's things that a lot in wrestling where I kind of drop the ball sometimes because I just look, I'm just like, okay, here. I'm like, okay, over here. Okay, I'm over here. Right. I'm just doing all these crazy things. Like now I have this thing where I want to go buy 5 songs a week. And I'm just going to go live on Twitch. And I'm going to play those songs. And it's going to be like my top 5 new finds of the week. They don't even have to be new. They could be from like 2 years ago. So I want to do something like that. So it doesn't matter like where, I guess, like what you watch or anything. It's about enjoying what you love, which we've been talking about this entire time, which has been amazing. I mean, what else? I mean, with all this going on, what have you two been able to go on trips yourselves? And
go ahead, finish.
No, that was it. That was my question.
We took a little COVID vacation after we had some tests done during this whole process here that thankfully we were both negative and haven't really had any sort of other problems arise. We did take one trip down to Lower Ohio. She had never, probably been anywhere past PA on the west side of things.
Okay.
And got to see a lot of that, do a couple things with the kids, stay overnight towards Cincinnati, Columbus, in that area. And so that was probably the most major thing. I think we went to Hershey once.
Okay.
During that whole thing as well. That was an interesting time with COVID. Everything's with COVID nowadays, as we know already. And to bring that up too, I know this was a very touched on topic with your last episode being with your Pain Bringers Anonymous. As I said, I've done my research here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's changed everything.
But
I think those were the 2 most notable things that I've done. Definitely a lot of road trip, a lot of let's go see this and see this. Not more so let's do this, but yeah, let's go see this.
Yes. And I think for the first time in a long time, I've never had this much time to do things. So like when we would keep going up to Niagara Falls left and right last year, it was just because we were just sitting around, just like, you're in your house for so long. So we would just go do something. And and that's that's one thing that I always stress. I come off like a complete asshole sometimes on some of those episodes, but I do that because I want to show the emotion that it can put people through to do that and to get to the point. But the one thing we always say is have a hobby, live life, have fun. And so many people have forgotten that. It's amazing. Like you definitely didn't. And the Painbringers Anonymous, that's what I was trying to get everybody together, is like, all right, let's all calm down. Let's move on. Things are going to be okay. And really nobody asks about masks. We don't wear them. Do you wear them anymore?
I like to, as the term goes nowadays, identify as vaccinated.
Yes.
With 2021 being the movement of everything.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of fun, isn't it? And
is it right? Maybe. Yeah. Is it wrong? Probably. But
it seems like nobody cares.
It's wrong to the ones right. It's wrong to the ones who have the wrong opinion, and not wrong opinion, but the wrong standing on everything. Yes. The ones who have been so terrified by comments made by randoms on the internet, whether it be a thread or somebody just going on to try and complete that objective of terrifying people into this herd mentality. It's I just keep saying it's wild because it has definitely left me speechless. Thankfully I haven't lost a position. I haven't lost my job. They kind of need my profession.
Yeah, they just I mean, my job just got cheaper. They just hired someone cheaper. And I can't hate them for that. And I don't, because honestly, in the end, you can't, with what COVID did, it took down so much of the economy. You just think this job has the money to pay you that 17, 18, 20 bucks an hour. They don't. Not when you see 40 to 50, 60% of their customers not buying anything. And you take into the fact that, you have all that overlay, you got to keep the stock that you have to keep in certain jobs like that. And that's it. And that's why for me, it's like, okay, that's fine. But, that's why things open up. More time to podcast, time to buy, backdrops. Also with the sports website coming out very soon. That's going to be really fun. We have a meeting on Thursday about that. It's getting really close. I finished up all the IDP parts of it. So that's done. I'm going to, be doing the daily fantasy part of it. So while that all takes itself together, that's why I went with selling wine. It's about finding things that kind of work with what you can do with and just benefiting from it. Because if we didn't have some of that COVID money, I would have had to go get a new car. Instead, I was like, oh, $1,400. There you go. Who cares? Like, that's what my money went to. It went to fixing my car. So, and between the car, which, the transmission blowing the year prior to that, it was $7,000 for the car. And then I had my roof done that right before the car had blown the transmission. So you just, between the car and the thing, that's almost $13,000 in cash I put out in the past year for just the house and the car. So I think that's cool. Like, I'm cool with that. I was able to do that and, get through it and figure it out. And it didn't affect anything. And it helped our current living better. It just made things. And for me, I think that that's what people like when you brought up the herd mentality and the people just like that. Like, I remember going to work with like a broken leg and, they would not send you home. Like, this never happened. I called off when I broke my leg, both times. But, what do? You can't just go, like, I see these people like, achoo, okay, you're home for 2 weeks. What? Like, okay. What? Like, what happened when I was hungover? It was thrown up like every delivery. Or what happened when I was really sick and, nobody would come in for me. And I had to sit there that entire day delivering. And yes, I was throwing up that day too, because I shouldn't even been moving. It took everything out of me. It took everything out of all of us growing up. doing all that stuff. And just to see this kind of happen, like you said, it left you speechless. I'm like, oh, okay. And then eventually, as you already heard on my podcast, I started getting asked questions I didn't even know how to answer. Well, why won't they let you in? I don't know. Why don't you call them and ask? Why don't you ask? I did. They told me it's company standard. Well, we need to get in there. Well, I like, it's just like, I don't know what to do. Well, why don't you? Because it's another company. It's split. They have their employees controlled the way they want to. You just wanted to get in there. They don't give a fuck about that. They don't. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. And just me going, they don't want me in. Doesn't make I do a bad job. And that's why so much of that changed. It changed employers. It made them greedy. It made them find, all these things and do these little stick moves that I talked about, and just other things around it. But for me, I liked it. I kind of liked the time off. I kind of liked it was kind of like a good reset. And this going in with the knee injury, I'm not like angry as like I used to be. I mean, I used to come home and literally that one episode, I don't know if you ever heard it. Did you ever hear I Hate Your Masks?
I don't think so.
There was one that was made a day later, and it's called What's a Masker With You? And that was the very PG version of that when the whole situation with the vacation came up the first time. I was really intense that Thursday night. And then it was just like, I was so done with that place. And then it was finally like, boom. And I don't think any of that happens if COVID don't happen. Honestly, I think I'm still there. Maybe I hurt my leg. Maybe I don't. Maybe, who knows what happens. But one thing I do know is I think that if a lot of that didn't happen, I think that things would just still be going the way they were. People just moving along and things like that. But it just made things, it changed things. And like you said, left people speechless. Speechless, brother, man.
Yeah, and I'm still am to this day on some things.
Yeah.
And that also leads into just, you walk out of your front door and what do you see? You see help wanted.
Yes.
You see, every single fast food company hiring workers. You see every single department store hiring workers. Exactly. Because they got used to that. Hey, let's give them this $1,400 or however much you were getting.
Yep.
Kids, no kids, whatever the situation may be.
Yep.
And then you get, hey, the sniffles, I'm out of work for 2 weeks. Well, let's try to cheat this and make it longer than 2 weeks. Why do I only have to take 2 weeks? If I have this sickness, this virus, this pandemic, 2 weeks, and I'm back to go to, I'm cool. After all these deaths, why should I go back to work?
Yeah.
And then you have all of the money that was given with unemployment and all sorts of craziness there.
Mm-hmm. And then the fraud.
Yeah, absolutely. There was already fraud there. And now you bring in, this astronomical amount of everything else. Guess what else increases?
Yeah, it's good. It's already increased. It's the wood. The wood's the first thing. Gas increase. Go on.
Yep. And then you get into the conversation of who is really quote unquote essential.
Yeah. We weren't at first.
There is not a McDonald's in the world that I think is essential to life. There is not a what are some of the businesses like there? I don't think there's a Kmart in this world, and there probably isn't many now that were considered essential. No, things like that. Buffalo Wild Wings was not considered essential.
No, you're right. But other places were, places making these little things. Like, well, we couldn't sell coffee because people were scared to even turn on the brewer, and some places just flat out closed their entire break room. Like, and in the one place, I mean, these are people that, I'm not gonna, I'll say numbers, whatever. It's, it's my podcast. So, there's places that would order anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a week. Didn't even order for over a year. Order for over a year. I mean, it's crazy. And then you see all these, but that's also because these places could only keep so many people. in their restaurants. So what they did was, which I think that also happened too, because it kind of happened to me. You take the person that's more, workable, the person that can work the weekends, not the person who goes home and has a family life or whatever, the other guy that does this. So even though you're a great worker and this guy's a great worker, they're going to keep this guy. They're going to send all those other people home. Well, a lot of those people went and got other jobs. A lot of those other people went back to school. And a lot of those other people are now being asked to get called back to these places. And they don't want to go back because some of them weren't treated right in the first place. So I think it's a little bit of everything. It's like a whole melting pot of just bullshit. You've got all the stuff, everything online, and then you got all the people that can hire because, again, they went from pretty much 25% to 100% within like 3 weeks. So you can't find help that fast. And nobody wants to go back and get yelled at for what they were doing before for $7.25 an hour and then be like, all right, you're back in the working system. We can only work you 28 hours, but here's your $7.25, which when you can only work 28 hours, because this is what they were doing with a lot of the jobs that didn't offer full-time before that anyway, so they didn't have to do the whole benefit package. Of course, there's jobs that find their way around it, but at the same time, it's hard to go back. Like what you said, it's hard to go back to that because in the end, you're only making $130 a week when you're sitting at home getting the $270 for free. And then you're getting your unemployment, which can be $50 or $70 or $150 or $100. But when you're getting that $270, you're getting $470 a week. That's the problem. But there's like places like Chrissy, she went and found the paparazzi. You know this, but she hasn't had an opportunity to go back. So it goes, well, does Chrissy just go find another job? Well, she did, but she also liked her job because that job also paid her over 10 an hour. Those jobs paid more than what she's going to go make over here to restart. Not say, I've been at this place for 15 years. She can't say that somewhere else. She immediately goes back to the low woman on the totem pole. And that's not cool, but she's willing to go work the arena. The ballpark didn't even call her, but that's because, the hiring and things like that. But they're ready to go back. They're ready. Like she doesn't mind, going up and sitting in that room. But the one thing that she doesn't like that she talked about was that email was saying that, they want a copy of your vaccination shot list. Like, but what if there's other things on there that you don't need to know about?
Right.
Like now what if I'm receiving a shot for, a steroid shot for this to help like my neck? Like what if you're receiving that? Is that, should that be something that you should see because you're on that? Or, like it would have my knee injections on there. And they'd be like, well, why do you get so many knee injections? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it seems like it's crossed the line, but I think that it all ties in together. What do you think about that? Like going towards the employees, employers, and things like that, man?
I think it's hard to speak about if you haven't been placed in that position.
I agree with that. Go on.
It's all been so twisted, the whole situation. Mm-hmm. And speaking on my own experience, I had to take part in a training class per se that I spent quite a few weeks away from my family. And before I could even do that, I had to be voluntold that, hey, you're gonna take this test, and we're gonna make sure that you're not sick, regardless of who you've been in contact with, regardless of anything.
Yep.
You're going to do this. So I have been placed in a position like that where it's been, hey, if you want to stick around, this is the new normal, but not in a position where it was, hey, we're going to take this information from you that may or may not be excessive, who knows?
Yeah.
And see if we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So being put in that situation, I would feel the same way as to say, let's back up. What really are you trying to get out of me? And then on top of that, I'm not familiar with any sort of like HIPAA regulation, or even with COVID nowadays, on what you can and can't ask for.
Yeah.
But I feel as if that doesn't sound correct.
No, that's why we talked about that. Because what if, like I said, what if I don't want to disclose that I've had a knee surgery to this job just a month ago? What if I didn't want to do that? But if they get access to your medical records, or they get access to the things, they're going to be like, oh, well, we just seen you had a surgery. Of course, they're not getting full access. They're asking for your cards. But where does it, like it says, where does it stop? Okay, now once you have that, and I think the HIPAA more is a sharing thing. I think it's under the APA something with that they can't just be like, hey, where's your card at, or something like that, because no one's really asking for it anyway. But at the same time, when you have to sit there and flash this other stuff to go around, like, who wants to do that? It's like you said, like, to get that training, you had to do that, but you did it. So, some people could be like, well, you shouldn't have did it. But you know what? You don't live my life. You don't pay my bills. You don't live in my house. You don't clean my floors. You don't do that. So until somebody can do all of that, then will I maybe stand up, or whatever you want to call it. But for me in my life, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to do that. I mean, of course, I had my differences with the masks, and that led to discussions at work, reprimands at work because they didn't like my stance, and that's fine. But at the same time, you, like when you brought up the new norm and things like that, to put somebody in my position who hasn't actually worked in a long time to just go, hey, we need you to do this job and you're going to have to wear a mask. Well, now you're telling me what to do, So for me, like, my unemployment immediately was like, okay, you got to find a job. And nobody even has to find a job. But I've already been to all the meetings. I've already been to all this and all that stuff. Like, I have the career link person calling me and things like that. So it's like I get all that. So I'm not even one of those people that, don't get I've been straight up professional this whole time. But to put me back out in the workplace under all these crazy things with that's also not a good thing too, because I haven't had to wear that mask. The first person that goes, hey, you got to work this shift 8 hours in a plastics. I'm like, no. And they go like, well, we'll take this. Well, then you got to do what you got to do, because, that's not my job. That's not my expertise. That's not what I'm going to, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. If you have a problem with that, then that's your opinion, right? Like, if you think that somebody should be a plastics worker, because I was talking with Dorian about this, and they were putting him in warehouses and plastic shops. And he was like, it was good. I did it, but that's not me. I want to be a weatherman. I want to be able to be on a screen and talk to people and use, because, Dorian has that outgoing personality. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I figured you did. Like, somehow y'all work together at some point with everybody. But yeah, it's like, okay, so let me do that. So when I was doing my thing today, was a new updated system, I put sports announcer and I put, sports field, because that's what I identify as. That's what I have to identify as right now because of the website that's coming up. And when I start doing all these things and start being spread, when I put out a bad pick and I get destroyed on Twitter for it, some places might not like that. You know what I'm saying? They might not like, hey, dude, you got 100,000 people mad at you.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, yeah, that's why, my buddy Doc, he goes, hey, just don't talk anything. Just don't talk the politics. Don't talk like all that. You can talk about it, be mindful. I don't want you to see what happened to other people around us in this industry, kind of take all their marbles and throw it into those baskets and almost kind of lose themselves. But when it comes back to it, you said, unless you walk, miles in that person's shoes, it's hard to be like, okay, go back and get slaved and make less money and then have to do with understaffing too. that's the thing is these places, and I know I called this out. When these places get back, they need to make up all of that money that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
That's all those fuckers care about, man. And the only way you can make it that money is by working less people, paying them less, or even if you have to pay them more because minimum wage goes up, whatever, you work less people, you get your money back. That's how these places are going to do it. And I'm prime example of it. But I don't care. I can move on. But that's where I think is it's hard for us to understand this other person having this or this other person having that because we've had to deal with what we had to deal with and we did it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you want to play off with that?
I think to just touch a little bit more on it and to show the adaptation, the evolving that these companies and everybody else has had to do. The biggest thing that everybody in their life could look at: go to Walmart, buy something. Please tell me what you're doing when you go to buy that something. Yep. Are you going up to a register and seeing a person? Or are you seeing yourself in a camera, scanning your items and leaving the building?
Yeah. Now,
that's one of the biggest changes with COVID and budget cuts and everything else, and companies having to remake money. Why not utilize our different technologies or our different, you name it, to try and cut corners and do whatever else that we have to do. And
that's right, dude.
Eventually, it's going to become more drastic than that.
Well, look at I bring this up while you're on that roll right there, dude, because you're going right into a great topic. Dude, Sam's Club. You literally can go right on your phone, scan everything in your cart, and then pay for it without having to see one person. And when you brought up the scanners, we all remember what it was like to walk into a Loblaws or someplace like that, super duper, and see 20 people or 40 people behind 40 registers. And go on that, man. Go on that.
And I just keep sticking with Walmart on this one. And it's
go ahead.
It's tough too. Right before all of these adjustments were made, if you can remember back, how many times have you attempted to purchase something where you were in a line of 17, 18 people with 3 registers?
Yeah. Yep.
With one.
Yeah.
If you're catching them at a specific time. There are some new creations that these companies are coming up with that are actually going to improve the way of life.
Yep.
And there are some that won't. Look at McDonald's for one thing as well. Look at their kiosks that they tried to come up with. Eventually, hey, we need people back up here.
Yeah, because I see people confused.
And some of these places are going to have those trials and tribulations, and there are some jobs that can't give up what they have going because they'll fail.
Yeah. Like that's what the biggest thing was pizza delivery was actually set up for this. The pizza shops were set up the best for this because they already delivered. And Uber and Lyft and all those places, Uber Eats, they were all just coming up. And now you see people doing this thing to where you had whatever my buddy does, the one where you can go shopping for somebody, but it's all paid for. You go pick out their stuff and then you bring it back, or it's already ready for you on a table. You grab, you pick it up. My father-in-law, Chris's dad, just went and did it. And we didn't even know that. He was like, I was just sitting around bored and I decided to download the app. And then he said, so I was sitting around, I didn't have nothing to do. And he goes, so I decided to go live. He was like, pretty much what it is, running to McDonald's or Burger King right down the street and picking up the food and taking it. And then you get the tip and you get all that stuff. But he was like, I killed like an hour and he made so much money. But to him, it was fun. But we didn't even know. I was like, I never would have thought he would ever do that. I would never thought that, that. But then I listened to my buddy and now you're seeing it all go around. These are jobs that now exist that also helped to get in this limelight. And you also brought up companies becoming smarter and using apps and taking people from behind the desks. That you don't have to pay a computer. You already pay an IT company. You already pay a networking company. That's all part of it. Once that goes down, that goes down. But outside of that, if it don't go down, guess what? There ain't nobody there behind that register if it goes down anyway. They just got that one person over behind that one register. You know what I'm saying? Got like control 50 registers and stuff. They're just like, yeah, that's where I think I wanted to say this last, or I might have said it. I think a lot of it's facade. I think a lot of everybody's just kind of putting the pictures out there and putting the posters on a lot of the doors. Yes, some places need them. I don't think that many places need that much help. I think it might just be one of those little things where someone wants to feel important. So they put the little sign up too. Yeah, we need people too. We need people. And it's like, okay, you need people. But when I come here, it looks like you got enough people. I still get my burger in the same amount of time. I still get this in the same amount of time. Like the times didn't seem really increased anywhere else. So to me, I haven't noticed anything about that. I know I'm not saying that there's not jobs that are needed, but I'm saying that I think it's being exaggerated in a way.
I can agree. Yep.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. That's some good stuff right there. Well, I mean, we had a great time. I mean, I can go on talking. Do you have another topic about that? Did you have anything you missed?
Just a quick bullet. And you know it firsthand, and there's quite a lot nowadays of people that do as well. People being independent.
Yeah.
And you can take that in a wrestling standpoint. You can take that in just basic human life.
Yep.
All of these people are finding these curves, these ways to help themselves and to help others outside of these big corporations, outside of these bigger issues, and saying, hey, we can fix that. We can go and have these apps where we're making deliveries for people, like you said, with the pizza, they were built for that. And with these companies that were just getting off the ground before COVID started and saying, hey, guess what? This is a great time for us. Why don't you come help?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of the stores closed right before COVID too, because you had your Amazons, your eBays, your everything else. Online shopping was huge. Mm-hmm. And it just helped a lot of people in the process of saying, hey, I'm stuck. I'm home. What can I do?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Hey, these companies have been here for a while. There's your Avons, your Sensei's, your all sorts of different, your jewelries, and the list goes on and on and on. Hey, we've been here the whole time. Thanks for finally noticing.
Exactly. That's dude. That was a commercial, dude. That's like an Avon commercial. Thanks for noticing. We've been here. By the way, dude. But you're so right. Like with my traveling vineyard, I'm gonna do wine tastings, and that's like the whole thing. That's good. It works great with me. I love wine, and I know that I can sell wine. It's to me, it's fun. You just go there. You show off, you drink a bunch of wine. Well, I don't, everybody tastes the wine. And then you give them an option to buy that wine and go and, see all the different wines that you're not going to get in Erie. Because the wines that I'm tasting, I'm bored with a lot of the wines here. I've drank them all like everybody else. So that's why, finding like what people could say a side hustle, or like with the paparazzi and like the Avon, it opened up. But I want to say this too. And I brought this up with over the last couple of episodes, is that's the mentality that corporations do not like. And that's what me and Dorian were talking about, that you can only tell someone like me with my mind, and anybody that can sit in front of a mic, as you have right now, you could definitely do this yourself. Anybody can sit there. You just have to have a take. You just have to have fun doing it. People want to relate to that. And that's where, like, you could say the podcasting came out and all of that crazy stuff. But also, you can't flourish with those minds. And a lot of that happened last year when I was around Glenn Stearns, and me and Molly were filming those episodes of what was it? Undercover Billionaire Comeback City. When we did that, I was standing next to Glenn Stearns. Like, that dude is super inspirational. You're standing next to me. He's like, hey, great light. I'm like, yes, great lights. Looks awesome. Let's go. Bring the pain. Oh, yeah. Like, they just laughed when I would do it. The one guy, they got me to do this like picture where I hit that for like the whole time. I did this like jump, like, you know, one of those like jumps, but I did like a freaking full high jump. And the dude just goes, get that guy over there. He's got lots of energy. All right. And at the end, when he was, they didn't use it for the show, but they got it. They got it. So if they ever did like back takes, they were like, hey, what do you think? I was like, look at all this great equipment. Something like that. I was like, new bags to learn how to bring the pain to somebody. And I was like, they're probably like, what the hell that guy say? Like, what? Like, this guy's going to whoop all these bags, but they did it. They did it. And they gave Brian like a new idea to expand his school and to help out. He always was there to say, hey, I'm here to help this guy, right? But then he didn't go like seek out helping others. So with that, you know, with the show, it was able to walk, you know, followed him into Erie Bank, where Erie Bank gave him a sponsor. So he was able to help out other people that normally he wouldn't have seeked out and things like that. And that came because of that show. But like I said, that independence wise, that kind of started changing me. And you could say, well, Corona was the cause of that. Me changing, me becoming more efficient online, going on podcasts like Flying Casual and Rebel Scum podcast for Star Wars and things like that. That opened up. It made me almost a target, because now you're looking at what they were looking at, and you're just like, when they decided to talk about it, that's not what you do as a boss. And when you brought up that they saw that inspiration, that they saw that corporations always shut that shit down because they just want you there pushing that button, making that burger. They don't care about you. I want to be a podcast guy. And they're like, oh, who cares? But anyway, on the weekend, you need to study this, you need to do this, and we need this. I'm like, you're not paying me for that. If I want to go and sit there and do a football write-up and do it for free, then I'm going to do it. If I want to gamble, then I'm going to gamble. And if I'm not going to gamble, then I'm not going to. But you don't have a right to say anything like that. And I think when you start putting yourself around people with visions, that's when you start becoming a dangerous employee, because you want more.
Right.
And when you brought that up, that's what COVID did. It made a lot of people independent. It made a lot of people become their own boss. It made a lot of people actually find self-worth. Like, Chrissy is so much of a different person because of it. She's her boss. She does these great parties and she interacts with these people, and then they'll pick up jewelry, or she'll go drop jewelry off, and they love it. They love Molly. They loved my crazy ass shows. Like, that was insane. But I would sell like 18 pieces, and it would just be like this. Except I couldn't swear. And I looked at that. It was fun when she would sit there and she would have like problems with Ann, or problems with this person, or that person called off, and now she has to stay until 10 and do the dishes. That's not normally her job. And you go, well, that's just what happens in life. Well, guess what? She did it. But now she doesn't have to do that. She goes, you know, she goes live at 7 all the time. And well, not right now, but you know, she goes live. When she goes live, that's us making money. And in that time when I went, you know, when I was live, I sold 18, 15, sometimes like 4, you know, but I'm only live for like an hour and a half. I'm selling 18 pieces. I'm almost making $100 in less than 2 hours. Yeah, we paid money to get it, but in the end, we still made over $50 sitting on my tush, sitting there just showing off jewelry, having a great time with them. Who wants to go back to anything else like that?
Right.
Who, like, she doesn't get unemployment. She hasn't got the 270. She hasn't got any of that. So it's not even about that anymore. What it's about is her being inspired, and then her having that knack. Try to hire her back, and she's sitting in that 95-degree hot box, unhappy because of what's going on downstairs, when she could be at home laughing, having a good time, being her own boss.
And I think the simplest way to wrap all of that up is, okay, we've been in this spot for how long now? It's time to succeed.
That's right. It's time to bring the pain. It's time to go forward, people. That's what I tell them. There's been people who just go, well, bring the pain, man. I'm like, yo, say it with gusto. Say it with thunder. Just bring the pain. Like anything you do in life, you're going to go buy shoes? Bring the pain. Buy some shoes. Get crazy with it. I'm not asking you to go like flip them upside down or just like take it and be like, finally, this pair of Nike has donned my eyes. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go in there and be like,
oh, yeah, I like those leather skin boots over there. Yeah.
You
I love it. I love it.
Good stuff, man. Well, I'm happy that I was able to get you for an hour and a half. Definitely, we're going to do this again. So when I sign off, we'll talk for a few seconds after that. But definitely, you have links. Do you have links? I know that I see you talk online. Do you want to give out a Twitter handle or anything like that?
I am not currently on Twitter.
Okay.
The only thing that I have for anybody is gaming. The only thing that I have is I'm on Xbox. You can find me there at IB the Great One.
IB the Great One.
Yes, GR81.
There you go.
Other than that, I don't really have too much. This was definitely a crazy experience for me. A lot of nerves were intensified, and a lot of everything. Yes, was just definitely relieved at some points. Sorry for any technical difficulties, any background noise. Like I said, it's pretty crazy around here. It has been. It will be.
It would, but I saw that you were looking at doing a podcast yourself, right?
Hey, if it's something that I can venture into, maybe a couple more knockouts with you, we'll get this all taken care of and finally shed that skin and get into a different.
I mean, look at it this way: in a sea where everybody has a take, you have a take. It's how you deliver it that nobody else will ever be able to duplicate because there's only one human. It's you, brother. It's you, and that's what I like to see when I see someone go, I want to be a podcast, or I want to be a podcaster. I want to do this. My buddy Scotty, that's on my Facebook. He started out, he's watching videos. Me and him have been throwing each other, little snippets. This dude is doing so much with Streamlines now. He's got the what's flying up over here. He's so happy. He's doing reaction videos and it's changing him. And I'm watching it. I'm watching his posts going, I like working for Verizon, wherever he works for. He's like, but sometimes you have those thoughts of being independent. And I'm like, dude, do it. Like, push that. He also makes jewelry, but that's his, like, he does the wire wipe stuff. I can't do that wire wrap stuff. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. He sells them for $50-$60. You have a passion. The only thing holding you back from your passion is that other job. And unfortunately, that other job pays the bills. But one day, you might get noticed. And that day is the day that, you just outsource. You start going on other podcasts. You start at Bring the Pain. Next thing you know, you're on Wrestling Insider. Next thing you know, you're doing this. And you just get it. And then you make your podcast. And yes, you only get a few cents or 5 cents a podcast for advertising and things like that. But in the end, it's you out there. It's you doing something you love. It's you talking. And it only gets easier with every episode you do. Sure does.
And we're going to try and run for it a little bit longer, and hopefully I can be on a couple more. And like you said, maybe I can kickstart one of my own here soon.
There it is. That's what we like. That's what we want to see and bring the pain.
No doubt, and hopefully soon. All
right. Well, it was a great episode, everybody. I'm gonna do my classic kick out, and then I'm gonna throw in my awesome outro song. So always remember to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah. Thanks for coming on. And always remember, check in, check out. Always look for it. And when this man drops a podcast, y'all got to listen to it. Ooh, yeah. Yo, everybody, it's your ride. So let's get to it. Bring the pain.